has tuned in today. I truly appreciate you. And if you're new here and you enjoy whispered true crime, please consider subscribing to the channel. I post 2 times a week, on Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. I recommend using headphones if you would like to hear the gentle mic brushing. Before I get to tonight's case, I'd like to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that is Cash Frenzy. Cash Frenzy is a free-to-play social slots game that is available on both iOS and Android devices. Just click the link in the description box or scan the QR code on the screen to download it for free. You will get 3 million free coins and be supporting the channel as well. This game brings hundreds of truly authentic slot games right to you in your own home, and they introduce brand new slots every single week. Plus, it is so easy to win the big jackpots, and that exciting feeling of winning is truly amazing. This is actually a really relaxing game to play. I like to play it when I have a couple extra minutes that I just need to kill, like if I'm waiting on a line at the store, or if someone put me on hold for a little while. I also like to play it when I've had a hard day and I need to take my mind off of whatever is going on. This game totally does the trick. My favorite game to play is called Castle of Dreams. This game is Cinderella themed, which I truly love, and it has the most beautiful graphics. Another amazing thing about this game is that it has a whole bunch of special features in addition to the slots. They have stamp collecting, scratch-offs, home decorating, and even a cooking game. My favorite is the stamp collecting mini game. You actually win stamps when you're playing the slots, and you can trade them with friends or you can gift them to friends, and there are so many fun and interesting stamps that you can collect, and they keep adding new ones constantly. So thanks again to Cash Frenzy for sponsoring this video. Please scan the QR code here on the screen or hit that link in the description box to claim 3 million free coins and spin right now. Okay, let's get right into tonight's case. This is the tragic case of the Sheats family murder. This took place in a town called Katy, Texas, which is not too far from Houston, and it happened in June of 2016. So let's talk a bit about the Sheats family. So, Jason and Christy met in Alabama, where they were both living about 15 minutes apart. She was in Decatur and he was in Trinity. And there was about 3 years between them. He was 3 years older. Now, they knew as soon as they met that they were going to be together forever. Or that's what they thought. And at some point, they picked up and they moved to Katy, Texas, to raise was a conservative Republican, and as a Baptist Christian, she was a gun owner, and she was a very vocal advocate of the Second Amendment. According to her friends, she lived for her two daughters. They were the light in her life. She had so much pride for her daughters, and she was always out showing off their pictures, especially on Facebook. She posted a photo of her two daughters on Facebook, and she wrote, "Happy Daughter's Day to my two amazing, sweet, kind, beautiful, intelligent girls. I love and treasure you both more than you could ever possibly know." She also posted on Facebook about gun control, which she spoke out against. And she stated, quote, "It would be horribly tragic if my ability to protect myself or my family were to be taken away. But that's exactly what Democrats are determined to do by banning semi-automatic handguns." Now, I'm not bringing that up because I want us to get into a political debate. Not at all. Let's please not go there. But it is very significant, and you will find out by the end of this video why it's significant. Now, in 2012, Christy's grandfather died, and he had been like a best friend to her throughout her life and played a big role in raising her. So she did not take it very well, and that was the point at which her life began to take a downward spiral. And to make matters worse, a couple months later, her mother died as well. So beginning in 2012, after the passing of her grandfather, she started having a lot of, let's say, emotional, psychological, mental crises. In the next 4 years, she would be admitted to mental health facilities 3 times. She attempted to take her life 3 times. And officers had responded to emergency service calls to their home 14 times. So that was all between 2012 and 2016. According to Jason, her husband, she was taking prescription medications for anxiety and depression. But we don't know any more about it. We don't know what she was taking or what her specific diagnoses were. So now let's put her on hold and let's talk about her oldest daughter, Taylor. Now, by 2016, Taylor was 22 years old. She was very passionate about drawing and caring for children. She graduated with honors from Lone Star College sister, and she was 17 years old in the year 2016. She was going into her senior year in high school, and she was a member of the National Honor Society as well as the Spanish National Honor Society. It was said that she had a very giving heart, and she enjoyed volunteering and helping others. She was a wonderful babysitter and also a dog sitter for her neighbors. She was known to be intelligent, funny, and sweet. She was an early riser, especially when they had friends or family staying with them. She would wake up super early and cook them a really amazing breakfast. She really enjoyed cooking and wanted to share that with those around her. Alright, so let's move to the date of the crime. So it was June 24th, 2016. And Christy and Jason had been separated for some time. Their marriage had been crumbling, according to Jason, possibly due to all these mental health crises, but I don't know for sure exactly what was the problem in their marriage. So they had just reunited shortly before this date, and Jason had expressed to her that things were not working out, and he was thinking about divorce. Now, this day was also his 45th birthday, and she herself was 42 at this time. Now, she got into an argument with Taylor regarding Taylor's fiance, and she wanted to ground Taylor and keep her from going and getting married the next day. Her wedding was to be the next day. I don't think I mentioned that. So it was the 24th, and she was going to be having that little wedding ceremony on the 25th. So her mother, Christy, wanted to ground her. Now she's 22. And Jason said, "You can't ground her, she's 22. And they were arguing about it. And he said to her, "This is going to be the last time you ruin my birthday." So Christy called a family meeting, and Jason assumed that the meeting was going to be about their divorce. You know, he thought that Christy was going to tell the girls that they were divorcing. So they all sat down in the living room, and before they started talking about anything, Christy reached into the couch and pulled out a gun from the cushions. And next thing they knew, she was shooting it at her two daughters. Yes, you heard me right. She shot both of her daughters. At which time, everyone started to run. The three of them raced out the front door, with Christy chasing behind them. Unfortunately, Madison, the younger girl, she shot. She shot Taylor. And Taylor fell to the ground. And I guess she ran out of bullets because then she ran back into the house to reload the gun. At which point Jason ducked into the neighbor's house to call 911. And apparently, this was around 5 p.m. Already a whole bunch of calls had come into 911 from just people in the vicinity who were just calling and saying they heard gunshots. And then Jason called to tell them what was going on. So, when the police arrived, she was standing over Taylor with her gun, and the police told her to drop the gun, but she wouldn't. So, the police officer shot her one time, instantly killing her. Now, as I said, unfortunately, Madison was dead on their arrival, but Taylor was still clinging to life, so they airlifted her to a hospital, but sadly, she died. And the father, Jason, he was not harmed, but they took him to the hospital as well because he was suffering from extreme emotional distress, as you can imagine. And when Jason was interviewed after the crime, he stated that he was pretty sure that Christy shot their girls in order to make him suffer. Perhaps because of the fact that he wanted a divorce. So she figured, oh yeah, you want a divorce? I'll show you a way that you can be miserable for the rest of your life. And he said that his faith in God has helped him somewhat to get through this, but sadly, at the time he was saying that he wishes that he hadn't been spared, because it has been very, very hard for him to live through all this grief. And that is the case. So, what do you think? I'll tell you a little bit of what I think. Since Christy died immediately after killing her daughters, we'll never truly know why she did it or what her condition was. But friends and neighbors said that they thought she was a very normal person, a loving mother. They didn't see anything, violent about her or unstable. But I suppose that's not really true because we know that she was having a lot of emotional problems. But she wasn't said to be violent at any point. So I don't think anyone suspected that anything like this would have ever happened. Now remember when I told you about that Facebook post that she was afraid that she would lose some of her Second Amendment rights and not be able to defend herself with a gun? It seems pretty ironic given what she wound up doing. Now her husband did mention when he was on the Dr. Oz show that the gun actually belonged to her grandfather and that she had applied for a license, but the state of Texas did not give her one. Now I applaud that was that the time when she applied for the license, and is that how she wound up not getting the license, or was there some other situation going on? I mean, I don't know. I thought Texas probably had one of the most lenient gun registration systems, but I don't know. I don't really want to get into the whole politics of it, like I said before. But anyway, so she didn't have a license, but she still had the gun anyway. And I suppose some people might say, well, Jason, why didn't you, take that gun away from her? You knew she was so unstable, and she was suicidal as well. But I would never say that to him myself, because how is he going to take it away from her? She's a grown woman. They had been separated for a while as it was, and obviously they weren't on good terms, so it doesn't seem like, they were a loving couple and they could sit down and he could say, honey, I don't think you should have a gun. It doesn't seem like a good time. That wasn't a conversation that they would be likely to have. So, I don't think that you can blame him at all for the fact that she had a gun in her possession. Plus, of course, he had no idea that anything like this would happen. No idea. Nobody would think it. In fact, I think if you look at this family from the outside, you would say, what a perfect looking family. I wish my family could be more like that. It's one of those kind of families that just seems so ideal, but it reminds us that everyone has problems, and you can't tell what people are going through just by looking at them. Now, do we think that she could have been psychotic? Do we think that maybe she didn't know what she was doing at this point? I don't think so. It seems like she had a specific motivation. She was very, very angry. Very angry with her husband. I don't know if she was truly angry with Taylor regarding the argument that they had, or she was more just angry with her husband for saying that she couldn't ground Taylor. Now, could you say, well, all this grief she had, it was too much and she snapped? The grief definitely seems to be what triggered off all of these things that were happening over her last 4 years. But how do you get from grief, anxiety, and depression to shooting your own daughters as revenge? It goes against nature. You never expect a mother to try to harm their children and to kill their children. Unthinkable. Of course, in the world of crime, it happens quite a lot, sadly. Tell me in the comments, what do you think would happen if she hadn't been shot? If Christy had not been shot by the police, and if she had gone to trial. How do you think that would have played out? I'd like to think she would have gotten life in prison for first-degree murder. 2 counts of first-degree murder. That's what I'd like to think. insanity plea, because I think that what she did was just so evil in so many ways. It's just truly astounding. But I am going to leave it there. Of course, I would like to say